Hello everyone, this is Rizzo. I am one of the MapCore judges in the MapCore Mapping Competition, and I am here to give some feedback on maps that did not make it into the top 10. And I'm going to start with 4 maps: Geothermal, Vermeil Roche, Aerospace and DER. All of them are bomb defusal maps, and I'm just gonna run around the map and point out some things that I think can be improved or are questionable. Obviously this stream only reflects my opinions and not the opinions of the other judges. So if you want some feedback from them, I would advise you to contact them directly. And these opinions of mine, they are also subjective, so you do not have to agree to them. It's completely up to you to make out of my feedback what you will. And I'm going to judge the maps based on what I think is necessary to improve, to make the map viable to be in an operation for CSGO. So sometimes I can be a bit I can sound a bit rude or also nitpicky, but that's just how it sounds. I hope you won't take it too hard, too much. That being said, I'm going to start with Geothermal by borgking, and I'm standing in the CT spawn right now. Man, it's tough to get started. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what my thoughts are when I'm running around the map. So yeah, CT spawn, we have this huge vista at the back of us when we spawn, and that's probably one of the first points I want to talk about, because it's pretty low resolution and it's really close to you, so you can notice it very easily. Skybox texture itself is pretty bland and boring, but I think that's something that you obviously want to work on. But also, like this is not really acceptable. I might even say raise this whole thing up a bit more, add some fog down there, so you don't really have to see it that clearly what's down there. But the way it is, it's not very pretty. And you don't see that much in this CT spawn. It's not very attractive. There's a lot of smaller details missing. But I'm fairly certain that you know about that. So yeah, let's just move on to the A-bomb side, which is also quite barren, a bit crude. Like, there's not much going on here. It's very generic. Like, the only cool thing I think about this is like this pipe, which looks really cool. And if that gives you a glimpse of how the map can look like in the end, then I'm sure that the map will look cool. But yeah, the rest of the map does not really show it. Like, this pipe is cool as well. The pipes are cool, but the rest also needs to step it up to the level of the pipes. Something else I noticed is the noise in this room is too loud, and when you leave it, okay, it stops. Okay, that's at least something. But yeah, same thing here, also too loud. The noise should really only be noticeable when you really put effort into listening to your surroundings. Like, it should not really stand out when running around the level. This bridge here, also not so sure if I really like it. Why does it have walls but no ceiling? Like, from an artistical point of view, I'm not too fond of it. Now we come down to the T-spawn. Like, I really like what you did here with these little pools. But yeah, other than that, when you stand here as a terrorist spawning, it's so empty. There's nothing going on. So I would really recommend to spice this whole thing up. And the walls, they are all the same, and it's pretty tough to navigate through a bit at the beginning, but the layout itself is simple enough, so it should not be that big of an issue. It's just that long term it gets a bit of a drag on the eyes. There's nothing really cool about them. This overhang here could be really cool, but yeah, you don't really get this feeling of being high above a cliff. Like, I would really lower the skybox quite a bit, like at least twice as much. Now coming to the B side, what should I point out about this? Like, probably the most obvious thing is that the ceiling is too low. You could give it a bit more room to breathe. Also, like these lamps here, they're solid, which is not very nice, especially since the ceiling is so low. And then you have this, I don't know how you call it, a cubby in the ceiling, which would really be a nice invitation to maybe have some window back and here and there maybe, and so that you can flash or smoke inside the building. This wall here, it feels really unnatural. Especially when you come from the CT side. You go this long path around here, and then you can only enter the site or boost above this, but this will barely ever be of relevance. And then you're in here already. Pretty, it's kinda tough. It's a bit too linear for me. Also, lighting is pretty important in this game, and stuff like this should not happen. At least for a submission, you know, that shows that there is something not quite working, and It's not a good sign. So yeah, this map needs some spicing up for sure. Layout can be quite cool, but can be also really, in my imagination, be really restrictive in what you can do. Feels a bit too corridory. This lighting here is cool. The flames are missing, or yeah, there should be flames, I think, because of the sound. But thinking about it, in this scenario on a geothermal station, is that really the right light source to have? I think not, so yeah, changing that would probably be better. Yeah, so that's the first map. Hardo is asking if I have gone through some other maps. Those maps are in the top 10. I'm only going through the maps that did not make it into the top 10. Because judges should not give feedback. The MapCore judges should not give feedbacks on the maps that are on the top 10. Okay. Anyway, let's go to the next level. It's Vermeil Rocher. Okay, here we are. Maybe we do the following. Let's start as counter-terrorists. And here is a nice little detail on this map with the terrorist. But my concern is that you will get sick of it after a while. So you have to consider that your map might get played hundreds of times, and seeing the same animation at the beginning of a round might be a bit too much. So while I think it's a cool detail, it would be better suited in a co-op map or a single player map than a multiplayer one. And yeah, my biggest complaint about this map was the navigation. Like, it was kinda hard to read for the player to know where they can go and where they can't. This here is like the prime example. An invisible wall, which is if it would be the only thing in this map, I could forgive it, but there's like a lot of these invisible walls that are a bit frustrating. Like this one here, you can't get up there. And then also this here, why is this inaccessible? Like this waist height barriers, they are not really nice. You should really only use them when necessary. So yeah, we are at A side. Another issue here, this gap is way too wide. I would just really make it very narrow. If at all. Other things are like, I don't quite get this, what's going on here. Why is this wall in between? Why does it have to be separated like this? You can look through this gap, these gaps here. It's not very cool. So I would simplify this whole approach here, because I don't quite see the merit in having it like this. Makes it a bit too complicated. Other than that, this rock formation here, the texture is really busy and very repeating, so it does not really look good. Also this squeaky door, not too fond of squeaky doors in general, but this here, I don't know man, it feels a bit misplaced. And like this small gap that we have down there, it's too gimmicky, like doesn't feel very good. Stands out too much. You have this whole rock formation here with the same texture, which really doesn't look that good. So yeah, this rock here has cover on a bomb site. Also a bit questionable, because it gives you some weird head peek possibilities. Yeah, Putty, come on. Yeah. Like all in all, it's a bit too cluttered. I would really simplify some shapes and really make things look good instead. Like, no, let's say it like this. Quality goes before quantity, right? So rather have some really good pieces, but not as many of them, instead of like having a lot of pieces in your map that are not very great. Like this part here, what is it good for? Is it just for looking into the skybox and into the unplayable area? I'm also not too fond of that. Also, this could use a bit of more love. Like here you can see the repetitions fairly clearly. Lighting is also something. The sunlight might be something you want to look into. It's not very optimal in my eyes, of course. Also, this area is something that kind of stood out to me as not so great. You have these things here, and then this thing here in the way. It's kind of a loop that you go around. Okay. Why is this here in the way? Like, it's disrupting the flow in my eyes. So yeah, try to simplify. B-side, let's see what we have here. Yeah, of course. Okay, one thing was this part here. It was not very clear to me in the beginning that you can actually enter it. So when you come through here, you do not quite expect this to be this deep and that you can get up there. So making it somewhat more obvious by lighting, like shining a light in this part here could help. Stuff like this is also not very good for gameplay, that you can like peek through the leaves. It's a bit too much going on here, right? You have this ramp, you have this wall here. I would bank more on simpler shapes to make it easier for the player to navigate. But yeah, another thing, probably my biggest issue, is this vent, which you can very easily miss the first times you play it. And then when you go through here, first of all it's a crouching vent, which is kinda outdated, I would say, but that aside, this door is a one-way door. Like, you can't open it from this side, like this sign even says, but you can do it from this side, and I think that's too much of a gimmick again. So try to make more simpler solutions which also make sense. Okay, yeah, that's about it for this map, I think. Okay, yeah, let's go to the next map. And that one is aerospace.
Let's get this started.
Okay, this map. It's an airplane, and I think this map is breaking the immersion more like any other map in this contest, maybe. Like this, I don't really get this airplane feeling that much. Like, I don't buy it that an airplane could look like this. And CSGO is, after all, a game which tries to locate itself in a realistic environment. So there's no wacky maps and the official rotation or the operations. So I can't see this map being in CSGO, but maybe in another map in another game which doesn't take itself so seriously. Team Fortress 2 would be an idea, but gameplay wise it wouldn't fit at all. So yeah, I told that to one of the makers, and he asked me what was breaking my immersion. First of all, the incredible amount of space you have. Like, no airplane would ever be so spacious. And some models, they just really do not belong on an airplane. Like, this doors do not look like that. It's like a nuke door. Kitchen looks like it's a kitchen in a hospital or whatever. Like, and that, I don't know, man. That's also not very cool. It's like a lot of these smaller details that are really not what I expect to see on a train. On a plane, I mean, yeah. So yeah, the okay, cool. One of the makers is watching. So yeah, bottles, I've seen that, but they don't really look secured. It's like really nitpicky stuff, but yeah. It adds up, right? You have like a bench, a park bench in here. Oh no, it's not a park bench, it's a locker room bench, right? So maybe also not the best prop choice. Images hanging here like it's an office. Like regular office equipment in here. The map probably took some inspiration from the Air Force One and one of the biggest airplanes in the world, I think, that had a bar like that. If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the chairs were different than the Air Force One, and in general the equipment looks like something that's not supposed to be on a plane. This here as well, I don't buy it. No plane would ever have that. Stairs on a plane, nice tripping hazard. Like, that's, I don't like it. This here, we are not on a boat, but on a plane. This is not really helping much. What is this cart doing on a plane? This is supposed to be at an airport. Like, you have here a bunch of how do you call them? Suitcases, yeah, and this, which is supposed to be a check-in. This obviously as well, like luggage. Yeah, it's luggage. Thanks. And yeah, this also is something that you see at an airport, not in a plane. Here you have it 3 times, coffee machines with plastic cups, and this is all stuff that does not belong on a plane. But probably my biggest issue with believability is the curvature of the walls. Like here, okay, it makes sense, right? But why is it curved here? And you have it here as well, and whoop, here again. Why does everything have to be curved? It don't only the most outer walls have to be curved? And here again, you have everything curved. Like, I don't think that's really necessary. Again, why? And yeah, I stop pointing these things out after calling out these things here. Why are there bags of grain here? Just stored like that. A bunch of questionable things are going on, so, and they stand out, which is never a good thing. These containers, how did they get there? Like, doesn't make sense. Okay. One more thing. The plane from outside looks like something that is not really realistic, I would say. Haven't seen a plane like that ever. And you feel that when you run around the map. You feel that there's something off about the size and scale and shape. But yeah, that aside, yeah. Yeah, but I have to rate your map on stuff like that as well, GZ. It's not only about gameplay. It's also about visuals, and this does not quite add up. Okay, on the gameplay side of things, it's kinda linear as well. Like, you do not really have much choice to do. Like, this is one engagement point, right? You fight the terrorists coming from there. Counter-terrorists, I mean. Then you have like these seats here, which can be a bit annoying, especially since you can also get in between them. Also ladders, not a very fun element, and you have it twice here. Also this ramp, what is it good for? And then you have this other engagement point for terrorists. Yeah, they can take this path here, and then they either cross over here or they go over here. And if they decide to not go to B, you have to go the whole way back, which is quite bothersome. Other than that, you can choose to go this path, as a terrorist, so you get up here. That would mean you have to get into the site like this. This is already the enemy territory, and then go back to get up here, which is quite the risky thing to do in my eyes. There's not a lot of replayability I see in this map. So yeah, but you really didn't make it easy on yourselves with an airplane. Like, when you wanted to make gameplay, why choose an airplane? If you wanted to make an airplane, why not try to be realistic with an airplane and maybe not make it a bomb defusal map, but a hostage rescue map? That could work. Would be easier to pull off, for sure. But yeah, that's basically it, I think. Alright, last map for tonight. Oh, some people wrote something. Okay, let's check that out later. First of all, we go to DER. And then let's read what the other guys wrote. Yeah, just like Vorontsov writes, a boat would be a much better idea for that layout.
Chop chop.
Alright, DER. I think it's a great map. It has a lot of potential. But I can, like, for me it was one of the top 10 maps. But I'm still going to say what can be improved on here and make it really shine through, so that more people see the beauty in it that I see in it. So the first thing I have to say about it is the lighting. It's kinda dull, like you do not really feel welcome when you are on this level. So changing the lighting, the skybox texture would go a long way to make you feel more happy about playing this map. I can only recommend the talk that FMPone and Volcano had on DE Cache, because it had an iteration which was kinda like this map, and they lightened the mood, and it was a huge improvement. So this map could also definitely improve like that. Another thing is the setting itself. It is it has been used quite a bit, and it's not really something unique and new, but I still like it. I can't really remember when a map like with this art style was in an operation. Yeah, no, I don't quite seem to recall if there was anything like this before. But maybe there's a reason why that wasn't in an operation, a map like this. Like here, what stands out is also some quite low resolution textures, so that kind of hurts it. You get a bit of the Half-Life 2 feeling on this map, which is kind of cool for the nostalgia, but moving forward it might be not the best. So I think that's more or less about the visuals, like improving the lighting and the textures, making it a bit more unique with custom assets could bring it a long way. And layout wise, I can see why the others maybe didn't like it as much. It's because it's quite a bit complicated. Like, let's take this path here as an example. It's quite an open area. You have I love this, by the way. This is great. But you have this area where you cannot jump into it. It looks cool, but gameplay wise it's a bit uncool. And it takes you a while to like get what's going on in this area. So making it a bit more obvious, maybe a bit more cleaner as to where to go, what to look at, would make this map much better. And there's a bunch of details that might not be necessary for this map, since we might want it to be a bit more simple. Like this here, it's a cool element for single player maps or co-op maps again, but here it's not really needed. Maybe it's needed because it would give the enemy team too much of an advantage to know when someone to not know when someone goes down there. I don't know exactly, but it's something to look for if it's really necessary to have it. Lighting is cool with this here, and this green as an ambient light is cool, but something kind of went wrong, I think. Why is the light not like that, but instead it's green? You might really get away with removing some paths. Not necessarily this path, of course, but some other paths. Here would be something nice and easy that you could do is to move this card further back in here, so you do not really get the temptation to crawl through here, which you can't. And you can't have someone hide behind here and do this silly thing. Also here, it's an exciting element, this corridor here, but yeah, maybe a bit less of that. Especially since I don't really know how good the visibility is when peeking around this corner here. Could cause some frustration. What else can I point out? Chickens. Chickens are always good. This wall could use some more love. Like this whole area here could be simplified. I don't want to tell you how, because that would take quite a while, but there should be a way to unify the paths here to not have so many branching off paths. All in all, I think it's a well-polished map, and it just needs some more love and more simplification, better lighting, and it could be a fantastic map. You should definitely playtest it on MapCore. That could help you to see what can be simplified. Alright, that's all the maps for tonight, unless you guys have a map that you want me to look at. One more map. Ah yeah, one map that has a similar theme like this one is D.E. Sanchez by one of the top 10 finalists, JD40. You might want to take a look at his map and steal some of his ideas. Of course, you didn't hear that from me. I'm not doing top 10 maps, only maps that didn't make it into the top 10. Alright, looks like nobody wants me to criticize your map. Only your own maps, yeah. Okay, Rosk, you get your map reviewed. Map Meza blah 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 Merazo, right? Yeah, Merazo. Okay. Yeah, judging from the loading screen, it's a terrible map. Absolutely not worth working on it. Just throw it in the dumpster and start something new. Or better yet, don't do anything anymore. Just play with Lego. Okay. Jokes aside. It's not that bad, yeah. No, it's a cool map, but it needs some polish for sure. And we can get started with a radar, man. What's that? What is that abomination, man? You didn't even take 10 seconds to make that, did you? Oh man, it feels good to to tell you that. No, okay. But other than the radar, there is no ambient sound. Of course, that's something that you will have to work on. And the lighting can also be improved. I think that's what all maps had common in that I reviewed today. Like the lighting can be improved. Maybe not. No, okay. Aerospace is one of the maps that had pretty good lighting. I give you that. It was not bad. But here, yeah, this could use some love, some tweaking. Yeah, like the foliage could use some disabled shadows. Like where were we at the CT spawn? Boo 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 boo. Too bad I can't use the radar. Okay, where was it? This here. You should have noticed that, man. I'm being super critical to you, by the way, because I know you can take it. So yeah, that's something. This here looks like it does not belong indoors. It's awkward. Like, I can't imagine a building having indoor stairs that are this long and flat as these ones, and then they're poking out a bit. This corridor is pretty damn empty. Might want to improve that. Like, you definitely want to improve that. And then you have this weird ass ramp in here. I highly doubt any building is built like this. Like, it's important to not make height variation just for the sake of height variation. It should make kinda sense. Okay. Bomb site itself, kinda small, quadratic. Not much to say about it. There's not much going on. That's also weird. Clipping. Yeah. You want to reduce frustration with clipping and not increase it necessarily. Like, the compositions you make are generally quite nice. Like this looks decent. It looks not bad. Except that this truck is clipping into the tree, man. Could move up the tree a bit. But yeah, gameplay wise, like, why did you clip it this brutally, man? And then you have this. Is this the spawn? I can't remember. Let's see. Either way,
This is easy. We kill them.
you have some dead space. But it's the T-spawn, so yeah, you can get away with it, but it's not very nice. This here, just looking at it, it can be nice. Also, it looks okay, but gameplay-wise, it's too cluttered. Like, you have plants that you can look through, and the navigation around them is a bit too narrow. This here again, decent composition. Like, I can see this working. Lighting is also nice back there. Obviously, that there's no ceiling lights here is a bit of a drawback. Here it starts to not make that much sense anymore. This corridor again with a slight height variation. Something you should look into. Ceiling height again. Is there something above? Ah, okay. Yeah, that's kinda I see. Yeah, you have to plan that out early on, like, so you don't have awkward situations like these. Okay, is there anything I want to say about the A side? Not the best cover to have a truck on the bomb site itself. Can peek through here. That was also something on geothermal, the cars in CT spawn. They also have these small gaps between the doors, which is not very nice for gameplay. Okay, but I guess this is already it. I am done. Those pillars are held up by pots. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, your clipping is really brutal, man. Like, doesn't make me a happy boy. And this is the third map that has this skybox texture, if I'm not wrong, or had it, and Vermeer Roche as well. Yeah, I'm not too fond of it. Ooh, but it has moving clouds. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, okay, that's it. Nothing more you want me to check? No? Alright, yeah, thanks for joining. I will be uploading this to YouTube as well, uncut of course, so it will be a long video, I think. But not everyone has to watch it, obviously. Yeah, thanks for having me. And Tanuki wants to see Metro. That's not his map, right? No, yeah, of course. If you decide otherwise later on and want your map to be checked out as well, you can just send me a message on MapCore or elsewhere, and I might do another stream. Okay, that's it. See you guys.